Well, it's a very good morning. My name is Uganda Semakola Zexoka. Welcome to UBC TV. Good morning, Uganda Extra on yet another day. It is the 4th of August in this year 2021, and it is a Wednesday. Now, thank you so much for choosing to be with us, and of course, picking it up from where Ruben Impima left it with a sports update. Him and John Barnes and Peter Tai, as we also wait and watch to see what happens. Remember, the Olympics are ending on Saturday and Sunday. That's when we have the final games. Now we expect to see some medals coming in on Saturday, and of course finally on Sunday when we get into the final event, which is the marathon, just right there. Let's continue cheering up the boys and girls in Tokyo who are representing us, and by the grace of God, we think and hope that we will come up with some more good medals on top of the gold, the silver and the bronze that is or that already in our bags. Now, welcome to our discussion this morning, and joining me in studios today is the Honorable Mary Karoro Okurut, the Senior Presidential Advisor on Public Relations, with us here in studios today. You're very welcome, Mama Karoro Okurut.
Thank you very much, and good morning, all our viewers.
I am really very happy to see you this morning, and you're looking so smart in Africa, Nata, yeah?
I tailored them myself.
Is that so?
Oh, yes.
Do you know how to do that?
I know how to do it, and usually my whole attire does not go beyond 150,000.
Is that so?
Yes.
In Uganda?
Because I use native material, and I use because, and because I'm creative, I create my own fashion.
Who do you think that you can actually sit on a tailoring machine and actually do something?
I do.
We think you only know how to do office work, sit, read books, write papers and all these things.
I do my own beadwork.
Oh, that's very lovely. Do you speak to young girls about that? Because I think those who admire you may think it's just pulling money to go to a boutique somewhere to pick those nice...
No. Yes, I do. And I'm hoping that when this monster, the COVID monster, eases, we'll go out and talk to these young girls. You don't have to spend... Some of these things are misplaced values. Like, looking for a dress of 2 million shillings. If you can afford it, yes. But with 2 million shillings, you'd have more clothes, actually, yes. As opposed to just having one. But you can also do a lot of things with it. Yes.
Okay, well, that's very important. On COVID itself, how are you personally managing on an individual level and maybe household level? Because away from we managing it together, communal as a government or as a country, but at individual level, people are suffering differently and people are handling this differently. How have you personally managed?
It's not easy. First of all, I want to salute and appreciate President Museveni once again for his strategic leadership ever since this COVID monster came into this world. His guidance has been very, very pivotal in actually making sure, especially, you remember in the first wave, we didn't register so many deaths. Of course, every death is regrettable.
Exactly.
But we didn't register so many. The second wave has been particularly harsh. So many people fallen sick, so many have died, but still our president has been on top of things, guiding, and he never tires. And I was reminded, he's always blowing the horn. Please, follow the soaps. But our people say that sometimes an animal that is doomed to die does not hear the hunter's horn.
Exactly.
So
the Luganda one says,
so they do not endanger only their lives, but they endanger the lives of other people. So please, let us all hear and listen to the Ngombe. To the Ngombe, yes.
The Ngombe of the watchman.
Of the watchman.
Yes, exactly. When the watchman blows the Ngombe, then we need to. Well, that's very important. Thank you, Mama Mary Karoro Okurut, for joining us in studio this morning. Before we get into the issues of our discussion this morning, let me also take you on this particular one of women empowerment. We've always talked about women empowerment, and we've seen them come to Parliament on that affirmative vote. But now we're also seeing them in in several government positions, especially now when we look into this particular government of President Museveni in 2021, 2026, where we see quite a number of appointments going out to the women. To many people, appointments to women actually simply mean service delivery to many. Once a woman is into something, then the public is sure that there will be service delivery. Let's talk about the involvement of the women.
The involvement, I have always said that for the case of Uganda, it is not just the affirmative action, the affirmative environment that was created by the NRM government when it came into power. That affirmative environment has ensured that women get involved in every decision-making position in the country. And therefore, again, I salute the President Museveni. I salute the NRM government. Now, these particular appointments, when the Vice President and Honorable Nabaja, the Prime Minister, and Honorable Kadaga, Honorable
Alupo,
yes. Although when the President announced the appointment, you know the ruckus that surrounded some of these appointments. And I said, no, this is not correct. And when we talk about PR, this is one of the issues actually. The President says, I have appointed these women. Then other people say, no, 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 no. This one on the weighing scale is a little bit, no. I wrote and said, they need our support. We should support them rather than condemning them. First of all, you have not even given them the opportunity
to serve.
Then you start bashing them. The way some of these appointments of women were bashed, I never saw some of the appointments of the men raising such a ruckus. And therefore, when we talk about public relations, for instance, we'll be talking about it more. How do we make sure that we have rapid response to some of these issues? This one was a scandal. The reaction on social media, it went everywhere. And that is not good for our country and for the individuals concerned. When we talk about public relations, we are saying, let us tell the story of our country. Now, when you berate the women who are appointed in such a position, even before they are given an opportunity to serve, what image are you creating about your country? What will those others who were actually applauding think about us? We have to go back to the drawing board.
Why do you think it's so honorable, Karoro Krot? Because number one, the women that we're talking about came through an election.
Yes.
And now it just means they presented themselves before the electorates, and of the many people who contested, these are the women who were voted for.
They were elected.
They were elected by the people
because
they looked at them as people who can actually represent and serve them.
And once you are elected by the people,
exactly,
it means you can become
anything.
Anything, you can be appointed.
Exactly, you can be appointed anywhere.
Absolutely.
Now, the president also goes to these people that were sent by the people, and the president appoints and says, I am choosing you and you and you and you for these positions. Then they cause this hullabaloo. Is it because our society does not trust the leadership of women? Is it because we don't think women can actually serve us better, or what? Why do we have this stampede when we see a woman up there in a position that we think is a masculine position?
You know, it's all about some kind of complex. The women are taking over. Because, like I said, I watched social media space. I watched, you know, the TVs, the news, our local news, and there wasn't much concern about the male appointees. Therefore, there is this feeling that the women are entering our space.
Okay.
Yes, and it is inherent in the male domain. Of course, there are few women who also joined in the fracas, which is a tragedy. But you know, during the slave trade in America, there are some slaves who connived with the masters. So we have got to break that chain. I read Irene Virunji. She wrote a very good article when these eminent women were appointed, and she said, these are ceiling breakers. They call it breaking the ceiling.
Breaking the ceiling.
Therefore, the women, these women, Honorable Arupo, Honorable Nabanja, they have broken the ceiling. I will tell you, I will take you back. Because when we talk about public relations, it's not just about Uganda. It's international. That election where Hillary Clinton contested
against Trump
as president, yes, you remember. Most people in the world, including you as truly, we knew that Hillary Clinton was going to take the presidency.
Even when I was supporting Trump myself as a Republican, but I also knew that I am a Republican, but of course I knew that Clinton would win.
Yes,
somehow.
Yes, I was also for Hillary Clinton. And in America, I don't remember the whole. They had actually built a roof of glass, so that the minute Hillary Clinton is announced as the winner, they break the glass. Because the women would
symbolically,
have
the women have actually broken the ceiling.
In Uganda, with president's appointments in this Sanja, we have broken the glass ceiling, and we should applaud it. Like I said, when we are talking about public relations, it is not just Uganda, it is in the entire world. Therefore, we should applaud and encourage and support our women appointees and not try to trample them down.
Let's talk public relations now. When the lady now, Okonjo, was appointed to head the World Trade Organization, the lady Okonjo,
yes.
You know, when she got there, all of us on the continent were like, wow, look at this woman, the first African woman. Then we, of course, brought on the CV and of course, all the things. But when it comes back to us here and our own public relations, because you see, what we tend to forget is what we talk about Honorable Karoro Krut, what we talk about Nabanja, what we talk about Honorable Lupo, what we talk about any other woman
Honorable
in leadership
Kadaga,
here,
yes.
the Honorable Kadagas of this world and anything,
Yes,
it doesn't stop here.
No.
And now this tells the rest of the world how we look at our women, how we demean them, how we disrespect them, and of course do all the things. Now, when the world is celebrating Okonjo at the World Trade Organization,
absolutely.
when the world is celebrating ladies like Salif Johnson, who is one of the members of the council, the PAN of the Wise,
yes.
or at the African Union,
yes.
To us, we don't talk about the Honorable Kaziwe, who is also a member of the same panel of the Wise. How do we manage this public relations beyond the borders of Uganda to the rest of the world, that this is actually what is happening from this land called Uganda?
This is what I said at the beginning, that we have got to tell Uganda's story, not spin it. You see, and there are people who think public relations means spinning. You know, the spin doctor. The spin doctor, of course, has got negative connotations. It means that even when something is not correct,
called black, blue,
yes,
called yellow, red.
yes, the so-called government spin doctor or public relations officer will spin it so that it sounds correct. No, we want to tell the story the way it is, so that we can redeem our image out there. And our story is a positive story. Our story is a good story. It's not that we don't have our hiccups. It's not that we don't have gaps and challenges. But how have we managed them? That is the story we should paint. I remember in the 10th Parliament, on the 6th of June, President Museveni addressed Parliament on, I think,
6th of June, that State of the Nation address.
2018.
That State of the Nation address. It was State of the Nation address.
When he talked about the security situation in the country.
When we had just lost Abiriga.
Yes,
that time.
And he said, for the first time in 500 years, the whole of Uganda has got peace. But you know, like we are talking about social media, some people got up and said, no. The other day, so many people were killed by criminals. How can we say we're talking about, but we are talking about wholesome peace. Those are regrettable incidents. But when he was talking about the security of the country, tracing it 500 years back, he was telling the story of Uganda. And that is the story we should tell the world, so that the world knows where we have come from and where we are. There are so many, we have got so many positives going on, taking place in Uganda. People are always saying NRM does not bring out its achievements. But we do. But other people say that the achievements speak for themselves. No, we have to keep on talking. Because in Christianity, we know that Jesus kept on preaching the gospel. 2,000 years ago, if you go to church, me I'm a canon of the church, they canon. If you go to church, it is the same message from the same book, but it has to be retold and retold and told
repeatedly
over and over again. Therefore, in order for us to minimize and, if possible, erase some of these negative stories about Uganda, we have to keep on telling and retaining the positives. Was it yesterday when the President Museveni met His Royal Highness? Yes. Wait for social media.
And you see, now that's the most important thing, Honorable Karoro Kurutu.
Yes. And the Prime Minister, Charles Maiga.
Charles Peter Maiga, the Katikiro.
Yes, well, fantastic moment. But now the naysayers will not want to get out the positivity. No. They will bring out all sorts of wild ideas, put them on social media, bring in hate speech, which does not build this country at all. So it is incumbent upon us. It goes beyond public relations. It's just telling the story.
Let's first
as it is.
Let's first understand what is this public relations when we talk about it, because we'll talk about public relations, we'll talk about the PR machinery of government, but what do we mean first and foremost when we talk about public relations, especially for government? Because they'll say, you know, Uganda has bad PR. Uganda is not like the other countries. When you go to a country like Rwanda, for example, just our neighbors here, a night in a hotel room in Rwanda, when you're watching the national television, is just good enough to tell you the story of Rwanda by just watching. You may not even understand the language you're speaking, but you can look, watch, and actually tell that this is a country I have visited. In Uganda, it's a different story. And of course, people will keep castigating and saying, this PR and this PR. What is, first of all, PR that we tend to? And secondly, who should be telling this story? Because we've left this story to everybody. Whoever knows and whoever does not know anything, everybody is discussing and, of course, doing PR for this country.
I don't think we actually. People have been talking. I want to appreciate, for instance, the Minister of Information currently now, Honorable Baryomunsi.
Dr. Baryomunsi.
Dr. Baryomunsi, yes. He has always done a very good job, even when he was not Minister.
For ICT.
Yes. Honorable Peter Gwang, I used to watch him, I used to listen to him, and they were telling the story of Uganda, telling it positively. What I think what we need to do is what I would call connecting the dots. Connecting the dots, because there is PR everywhere, but we have to connect the dots and speak in one voice. Gather all those voices together so that what we are sending out is the same message, more or less. That is PR, connecting the dots and telling the story as it is. I really want to appreciate, because I've been seeing so many of my colleagues. So when they say Uganda, our PR, like I've said, we have gaps and challenges. But we've been sitting and seeing how to do it. If we had sat back and said, let it take its course, no, that would not be correct. But people have been working, like, you know, I've talked about Honorable Baryomunsi, I've talked about Honorable Ogwang.
Peter Ogwang.
Yes. Honorable Nabakova, fantastic job. And I really want to salute them. President Museveni, with an incredible memory, incredible, and elastic patience, he has been one of Uganda's topmost PR people, so to speak. Everywhere he goes, when he talks, he's telling the story of Uganda.
When I shared something on social media that
but before, so when you talk about what we need maybe to work on better is branding, like branding Uganda. Though I didn't want to delve in too much, you know, communication and so on, but our branding of the country, we have to sit together, even though a lot is being done, but we need to put in more effort. To
brand Uganda. When I shared something on social media that I would host you today, and we talk about government's PR machinery, and somebody asked me a question very bluntly, and said, if all government MDAs have public relations officers,
yes,
what's the role of a government spokesperson? Because if an organization, an MDA like QBC, an organization like any other organization, all these different ministries, departments, and agencies of government have a public relations officers.
Absolutely, yes.
Then why would we even have a spokesperson of the government? Because if it's something that concerns the Ministry of Works, there is somebody at Works to speak about that. If it concerns the Ministry of Energy, there is somebody to speak about that. If it is at the hospital, it's at Minister of Health, there's somebody to talk about that. Then why would there be a government spokesman? And this was just a question from somebody.
No,
to
no,
do
no.
what?
It's no. Even though I see where he's coming from, and I do appreciate his concern, but even though there are those spokespersons in every ministry, still they have got to feed into the central place, which is where the government spokesperson comes in. Because at the end of the day, you are speaking for your ministries.
Your department.
Your department, yes. But somebody has got to speak for the whole government. It just goes without saying. And this is why I'm saying that, for instance, the government spokesperson, of course, Ofono Pondo, whom we fondly call OO, has done a very good job, has always very, very intelligent fellow. So
he has some quick wit.
Yes. After listening to all these government department spokespersons, he puts things together and then brings it out. The one voice I'm talking about, at the end of the day, is very, very crucial.
Okay, we have a social media problem, Honorable Karoro Krut, and you'll appreciate, you talked about it here in your earlier submissions when we see these appointments, that once somebody is appointed, they get on social media, and everybody who knows Karoro Krut and whoever does not know Karoro Krut will have something to say about who Mary Karoro Krut is and why she's not fit or why they think she's actually fit. But and there will be that discussion. And government seems to be losing out on this and possibly leaving it to them and say, well, let them say, the truth will come out.
No, you cannot.
Is that the way to go?
No, that is not the way to go, because we can't sit and say, let the truth come out. I think there are many groups, and I've been seeing them on social media, which are actually engaged also in bringing out positive messages. And it seems there are many of these what we call in Yakundiri, like voluntary. So and there are many people who don't say, let's just leave it. But still, we have to do more, like we have said. When anything positive takes place, people come up with all sorts of wild ideas, hate speech, trying to power water. So it has to be a conscious effort. And this is where digital communication comes in. All of us have to be on board. So that we embrace it, we take it up, because we know that what we call new media, social media, has really taken over. But it is important to keep the traditional ways of communication, because the person in the village, my grandmother, she doesn't know anything about social media. We have got to reach her.
For the international community or scene, let's talk about what you're actually saying. Now that the new media is taking over, or it has taken over, we also have the traditional media, for example. I am thinking and imagining, I have had an opportunity to travel out of Uganda, visited several embassies of Uganda, and they watch this particular channel, UBC, because they know that government communication opposition will come through here at the different embassies. Anything said on UBC out there is government position. Now, we get to levels where, for example, we can move out of studios here, and there is a list on social media to say the president has appointed RDCs, for example.
I know.
And nobody will actually tell you now. The list will be on social media. It is not signed. You can't tell whether it's one agenda who sat and thought and edited something and said this RDC has gone, this RDC has come in, and it will fly all over. You don't know who to actually ask and say, is that authentic from the president or not? Then, as you're possibly still doubting, then the other day, you will see somebody swearing, somebody taking office, somebody, you know, and we are getting used to some crude way of communication, Honorable Karolo.
But no. But
yes.
Is it true that, for instance, when you see this kind of list, which is not even signed,
it's just on social media and WhatsApp.
It's on social media. You have nobody to ask.
No, there is somebody to ask. That's what I'm saying. But you see, the issue is it can go out, and a one-year agenda voluntarily can actually say, let me talk to Honorable Babalanda because I can do that.
Yes.
And she will possibly say no. But will I now talk to everybody that I spoke to Honorable Babalanda and she actually said it's not true? I, as Jagenda, can say I will not sit on TV to authenticate what I have not cross-checked. But it will be out there. So many of these private radio stations will say, and that will be the talk in town.
Yeah, now this is where, when we talk about new media, you know very well, or this social media, we need quick response, rapid response. Because you see, this is news that comes out, it is not edited, and it moves so fast, so we need a rapid response unit. Every minute, which should be responding. Because if we are not careful, one day we can get a catastrophe.
Sure.
Absolutely. Sure. And we have seen it. Yes, so we need that rapid response from credible sources, from known sources. Somebody who will say this list is fake. But if we leave things, you know, though I've been seeing, like for instance, Rinda Nabsai, the presidential press secretary, she comes out, you know, very fast, say, no. Have you seen the president's signature on it? You saw it's fake. So we need that kind of rapid response, some of these situations. Yes.
Actually, especially before the cabinet list came out, there were lots of these speculation. This is the list. Yes. So and so is here, so and so is here, so and so is here, and you know it just goes. And a few of us who knows Linda Nabusai will actually rush to say, or Linda Tubulide, is this from the president? And she will respond to you as an individual on WhatsApp to say, no, it's not true.
I have seen her actually going beyond responding to, you know, I see her tweeting, I see her, you know, informing the public that please disregard this, please disregard that. Yes.
Which is the way to go. In 2018 at Munyonyo, when we had the Africa One Summit, the president launched an initiative called Nice Uganda. And last year, I want to remember, I think it was this year.
National Initiative for Civic Education.
Civic Education.
In fact, I was going to talk about fantastic initiative.
Yes, that initiative of Ndugu Biribona. I think he's a man in there. The Crispin Kaherus and all the others. Yes. Yeah. Now, it was in 2018 when we were at Africa One Summit in Munyonyo that it was launched, but I think it was given life recently on Heroes Day this year, when it was rolled out and you know, some project to come and help Ugandans and stuff like that. Now, how far is this? How does it help us? What are we doing with it? Because it's actually there, and it's part of PR. But where is it in public domain for people to actually know that there is this thing called Nice Uganda, which is a very good thing for Ugandans?
How come I've been following what Nice Uganda is doing? Because I think it is fantastic. First of all, the theme, or what's behind it, is like whipping up national consciousness. Going back to our core values as Africans, and that's very, very crucial. We have to go back to our core values. The young generation should get to know about our core values of humanity, of respect, of dignity. It's very, very important. And I've been following NICE. They involve civil society, religious leaders, you know, faith-based organizations. I think they are doing a fantastic job. If you are saying that what they are doing is not visible, I don't know, I've been visibly following, but now that you say it, it is something that we need to push further. Because it's very, very important. If you read Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart.
Yes, when he stated and he said, we have to know, we have to identify and find out where the rain began to beat us. That's what we need to do as Ugandans. That's what we need to do as Africans. That's what we need to do as humanity. Yes, so NICE is fantastic, but if you are seeing a gap,
I know how fantastic NICE is.
Yes.
I have followed
and
it.
I've been following it.
I've been part of it.
Yes.
I have had an opportunity to moderate many of their programs. It is a very good program.
Yes.
And when you look at NICE, for example, they benchmarked a country called Ghana. Now, recently when there was an election in Ghana between Nana Akufo-Addo and Mahama, you notice that because of the NICE initiative now, I'll call it NICE now. The NICE in Ghana is the way people in Ghana respond to many of these things. They appreciate and say, I am NPP as a political party, I am NDC as a political party,
Yes.
but I am Ghanaian. In Uganda, when I am UPC and you are NRM, then we need to even kill ourselves.
But this is where we need to get back to the drawing board to look and identify those things that bring us together, rather than looking at the differences. And this is what NICE has been doing and is trying to do. So I think let us give them more support. Because unless and I saw the other day the First Lady saying children must be taught our core values. What defines us as Africans? So unless those core values are restored within our communities, we will not have found ourselves as Ugandans, as Africans. Our people say that if you forget the way you used to eat, you'll go hungry or you'll sleep hungry. We need to go back. If you forget the way? You know, I'm trying to transliterate. You know, when you put it in English, transliteration becomes difficult.
It is from Runyankore.
Wherever ingeri
Jawaliangamu. Oba bwalianga. Bwera bwalianga.
Osura njara. So we have forgotten the way we used to eat. Tusora njara in more ways than one. So what NICE is doing is to say that tetwerabira engeri gye twakola ki. Otherwise gye twalyangamu ko tujja kusula enjala. Fena tujja kusula enjala in more ways than one. Yes, we have to find and redefine ourselves and go back to our core values. Yes. Okay, we'll take a short break and continue with the conversation here, talking about public relations, especially government public relations. And of course, with me in studios is Mama Mary Karoro Krut, the Senior Presidential Advisor on PR. It's Good Morning Uganda Extra. My name is Jagan Asemakola Ziksoka. We'll take a break shortly and return.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
This week on UBC.
So there are a lot of limitations around gender and in community, and there is this funny thing: women who have not been able to give birth cannot do anything in community. Actually, when you don't give birth in community, they see you as a nonsense. It will even stop people from giving you that opportunity to be a leader in the community. But why? Me not giving birth could be a biological problem, and no one can act on that apart from the Almighty God. So give us a platform as women in our diversities, respect us in our originalities and backgrounds, and help us to champion change, because we want to be there. We want to see that women are driving everything.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from the break. My name is Jagana Semakola Ziksoka on Good Morning Uganda Extra with Mama Mary Karoro Kurtin Studios. Here to talk about public relations and, of course, government PR and how effective we think government PR machinery is in the wake of all the things. Mama Mary Karoro Kurtin, let's come back to this particular thing here. COVID came into Africa through Alexandria in Egypt. The first COVID case in Africa came in through Egypt on Valentine's Day 2020. Now, when it got to Egypt, it was mishandled by public relations. They called it all sorts of things, and little did they know that a monster had actually come to the society, and it has eaten them up to where they are today. When it came to Uganda, we wanted to play about it, and by the guidance and, of course, the leadership of His Excellency, we tried to see how to manage it there. Now, when it came to the second wave here, we nearly also lost it. Why?
Nearly lost it.
Because of public relations.
Yes.
It is we who are marketing the world, Uganda in the world, because of oxygen and failing on this and failing on that and failing on that. And the other countries to say, we are actually red listing you, we are red listing you, don't come to us, don't come to us. It is because it is our own PR that is marketing us negatively to the rest of the world. What do we need to do in such situations?
Now, like I said, we should all think of this. We should own our country. But the minute you think I'm on the other side of the divide, then we are not doing ourselves any good. Like you said, COVID, the first wave, we really, we lost people, like I said, regrettable.
And we're speaking in unison. We
Yes.
were sharing the same voice, all of us.
Absolutely.
And for the first time, we actually saw everybody from the different divide now talk about one thing. Everybody was, please, let's do this. And we're all very supportive
Yes.
to the response.
I've got several friends in the opposition, and they told me, some of them said, Senga, this time we are going to put politics aside because we are with Mzee. Because the way he has managed this pandemic is one of the best in the world. We are going to perish. He's one of the best. So some of my friends in the opposition.
In the opposition?
Yes. Then came the
second wave?
No, the presidential elections.
elections.
Yes. President Museveni said, and of course he was getting advice from our medical practitioners that please, let us not have big rallies. The COVID monster is still here. So of course,
Let's go scientific.
let's go scientific. He had to adhere. I went with him all around, you know, around his campaign. 200 people, leaders. And he would tell them, give them the message. There would be radios, you know, FM stations, you know, now they're everywhere. They would be allowed to broadcast live, but he wouldn't have more than 200 people, which was okay. Christians, we know that
those were
Jesus had only 12 disciples, but they spread the gospel, and up to now the gospel is still alive. So he had, but what did our friends in the opposition say?
those with him in the early stages of COVID, when it came to campaigns, they turned against him.
Absolutely.
And they said, you're failing us, you're stopping us from...
You are stopping us from holding campaign. But this is not only to safeguard your own lives, but to safeguard the lives of the other people. No. It is because he wants to run alone. He doesn't want crowds. Oh, it is because he doesn't have many supporters. That is why he's stopping us. Please, let us go back to the drawing board. So we are the ones who are creating that kind of negativity about our own country.
Okay.
Yes. You know, when we talk about PR, sometimes they say don't talk about other countries in bad light. This is not in bad light. President Joe Biden
In the US.
in the US, during the presidential campaigns, he actually adhered to the SOPs. One time he was going to address people, just, you know, a few numbers. And he said, oh, bring my mask. Ex-president, well, I think they are still called presidents in America.
President Donald Trump.
Trump, the one whom you are supporting.
I didn't support him because I liked him. I supported him because I'm a Republican. He was our candidate.
Right. You know, I watched one of his biggest rallies, and he was scoffing at Biden. And he was saying, my God, look at all this crowd.
Praising it.
Yes, look at this. The eyes cannot even, you can't see. It's incredible. Look here, cameras. Yeah? And he was telling the journalists that, you know, for them, they are only interested in, you capture them. This is great. Compare with the Biden small crowds or words to that effect. But the Americans said no.
We know what to
COVID
vote
is
for.
here. Biden is doing the right thing. We have to know when the right thing is being done. That is the best PR. That is the way to tell the story. The story of truth. You can never go wrong.
We have the National Ethical Values Policy in this country. And it's a very good document. It's a very good policy when you read it. How does it also help shape our public relations, the National Ethical Values Policy itself?
This is what we are talking about, that we have to go back to our core values. Teach the young people, this young generation, about our values as Africans, about our values as Ugandans. Respect, what we call Ubuntu or humanness, or humanness. Now, if you meet a young person, not all of them, those days when we were young, you give way
to another person.
Yes. Please. How many of them do it now? They have turned some of our wise sayings upside down. We have a saying, nti orume bwerukura ugonka abana bago, that when a rabbit ages or is growing old, it suckles from the breasts of its children. Can you translate that into Uganda? Have you got it?
Akanyuga kakadwa kayonka bana bako.
Kayonka bana bako. But now some of the youth have changed that proverb. But you can't change proverbs. They say, Nedda orume bwerukura rufa.
Songo kuyonka abana bako is for sustainability.
Yes.
You grow them, you give them life.
Now,
when you're aging,
yes,
you fall back to them.
You fall back to them. They say now.
Now it's different.
Now core values. When we talk about PR, those are the core values we are talking about. Let's go back. Let's go back. So the document you are talking about, the policy you are talking about, is very, very important. And of course, the government machinery. For instance, this nice Uganda, the National Initiative for Civic Education, yes, has also been referring to that policy. It's very, very important. Now, when we talk about international PR, you know, relations, for instance, we have got the diaspora. And they want to come in. There are so many of them who love their country, very many. And they can be part of our best PR personalities out there, or personnel. They are very interested. They are very eager. One time, there's a lady who called me, and then she invited me over to the UK several years back. When I went, then we were talking, we were speaking in English. Then she said, I feel uneasy. Both of us are Ugandans. Both of us are, Africans, black. Now we are here on Oxford Street and we are speaking English. And it makes me uncomfortable. I said, okay, what do we speak? Swahili? Say we would rather speak Swahili. We would rather go into broken Uganda, but not English when we are here on there. So I saw that sense of identity. And when we talk about PR, this is what we have to whip up, our identity as Ugandans. That sense of belonging, that sense of pride. And once you identify and you are proud of your country, you'll do PR for that country. You will not post negativity about your country. Yes, like we always admit, we have challenges, we are developing a world. But we have a very, very good percentage of the positive story of what Uganda is. And therefore that diaspora, I can assure you, hundreds out there want to join. To join the struggle, to join in telling the positive story of Uganda.
Do you realize that we also have those in the diaspora? Our time is running out. We have about 5 minutes. Those in the diaspora who also post every negative about this country. Whether they know about it or not.
Yes.
And now somebody can actually post now and say, the meeting that the president had with the Kabaka yesterday is because the president wanted to poison the Kabaka. Now that can go around and say, we want the Kabaka, we did all the things.
Yes.
And you'll notice
Not
that this starts somewhere in maybe Canada or Turkey or the US and becomes a story here.
It's a tragedy.
And we don't heed to even thinking, why did the two leaders, the two principals meet? What did they talk about?
Instead of looking for the positive
exactly
in their meeting, people have already written the story, a negative story in their mind.
Finding who to blame and who to accuse. Now the traitor is maybe Mayiga. Mayiga got some money from the president to actually take the Kabaka to the president, and this now might actually happen to the Kabaka because he met the president. Now these stories will come, and coming from the diaspora. And I'm only thinking what we need to do as a government to see how to manage that, because it comes and it spills all over here.
But this is what I'm telling you. I said the task before us is to connect the dots. So that when such a story comes up, already people in the diaspora, if it is, some of the people who are spreading it are people in the diaspora. Now some of the people in the diaspora should come out immediately with the positive side of the story. Let's connect the dots.
Okay, Mama, I want to thank you so much, but just before you get out of studios, in 1 minute, your final appeal to the public in as far as public relations is concerned.
Public relations is also about dialogue. It is about keeping the communication line to our people open. Let's not close doors. Let's leave open doors of communication. Because once we can't hear, once we don't get feedback, and once there is no talk back, once there is a disconnect, then there is no PR. So let's leave the communications line open. And when I talk about communications, I do not necessarily mean the phones and no. The openness, the dialogue. You see how President Museveni has taken this country, where he has got it from. When you look at some of our colleagues, Honorable Betty Kamya, Honorable Mongin, Honorable,
Mama Nyuar.
Mama Nyuar. I remember one time Honorable Betty Kamya is my sister. So when she was still on the other side, I said, why don't you come? She said, I want to be convinced.
Why should I join? Convince me.
Yes.
Don't coerce me.
She got convinced. And she's on board. And this is the way, one of the ways President Museveni has kept the country together.
Very good.
Bringing in people who are on the other side, so that we can have peace and harmony. So it should continue. This is also PR. Like I said, he's our biggest PR actually. This is also PR for the good of the country. no discrimination.
I want to thank you so much, Honorable Mama Mary Karolo Krutu, for joining us on Good Morning Uganda Extra. And I just ask that next time we give you an invitation, please allow to come back to talk to us and to talk to the world of Uganda.
Yes, but of course I also learned a lot from you.
Sure, thank you. Thank you.
So I'm very, very happy. And I'm requesting next time, if there was a way we could have feedback.
Yes, true.
Yes,
we'll definitely
to build up, also to give us ideas. We hear from other people how we can better our PR.
Thank you very much,
for
Mama.
the country. We all stand to gain and not to lose.
Thank you very much, Mama.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's very important. From the Honorable Mary Karolo Krutu, Senior Presidential Advisor on Public Relations. And remember, this is our country. It belongs to you and me. For some of us who only have one country to talk about and to live in, the country called Uganda, we will do anything possible to ensure that we make this very habitable for ourselves, our children, our children's children, for all the time that God will allow us to be inhabitants on the planet, and especially in Uganda. I am Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka, thanking you so much and wishing you all the best for today. Remember that tonight at 10 o'clock, Charles Odongtho will also be coming on with Behind the Headlines. We'll talk again tomorrow. For God and my country, stay blessed and good morning. Thank you, Mama.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
That ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my